So in this lesson, we're going to be applying some of the inequality word problems that you might see. So if your school wants to collect at least 5,000 pounds of food for the food drive, we want to write and graph an inequality that describes the amount of food we hope to collect, okay? So if we want at least 5,000 pounds, okay, we would be right here, okay? So this is our target. So we can't have anything less than that. We want at least 5,000 or more, okay? So we could have 5,000 or anything larger than that. So to represent this, I would write x is greater than or equal to 5,000. Okay, so let's check out the next one. The speed limit on a city street is 25 miles per hour. Write and graph an inequality to describe a car's possible speed, okay? So the speed limit, okay, is 25 miles per hour. Okay, so we can go 25 or anything below that because the limit is 25. Okay, so to represent this, I would write x is less than or equal to 25. Okay, so moving on, if we want to write and solve an inequality to answer each. Okay, so the length of Lisa's rectangular dining room is 12 feet. The area of the room is at least 96 square feet. So we want to know what is the smallest width that the room could have. Okay, so we can draw a diagram. And I know that the length is 12. And I'm not sure what the width is, okay? But I know that the area is 96, okay? It's at least 96. So to find area, I use base times height, okay? So 12 times x is at least 96, okay? So it could be 96 or anything greater, okay? So this value right here has to be at least 96, 12 times x. So if I solve, I can divide both sides by 12, and I have x is greater than or equal to 8, okay? So that means that this right here has to be at least 8, okay? So it could be 8 or more feet. Okay, let's look at number 4. Robert makes $3.50 per hour working in a convenience store. If he gets a bonus of $25 this week, how many hours must he work to make at least $165? Again, it could be 165 or more. So we're going to use greater than or equal to 165. Okay, so here he works $3.50 per hour. So depending on how many hours he works, we're going to call it 350 H, okay? So if we plug in 1 for H, he would make 350. If we plugged in for 2 hours, he would make 7, okay? He also gets a bonus this week of $25, okay? This is like a fixed cost, so we're going to add 25, okay? So all of this amount, we want to know, well, how many hours H must he work to make at least 165? So we're going to make at least 165 total. Okay, so now we can simply solve for H. So I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. And now I'm just left with 350 H, this becomes 0, is greater than or equal to 140. Okay, I'm going to just bring it up here. So I have 350 H is greater than or equal to 140. Okay, so to solve for H, divide both sides by 350. So now I just have H is greater than or equal to 40. Okay, so he must work at least 40 hours if he wants to make at least $165. Okay, so moving on, let's look at number 5. The sum of 4x and 2x is less than the difference of 5x and 13. Okay, so kind of take what we've learned from equations and just transfer it into inequality. So the sum of 4x and 2x would be 4x plus 2x. Okay, is less than the difference of 5x and 13. So 5x minus 13. Okay, so now we're going to solve for x. So on the left-hand side, I already have 6x is less than 5x minus 13. So I can subtract 5x on both sides. So now I have x is less than negative 13. Okay? All right, so for number 6 and 7, I want you to pause the video for a moment and try these on your own. Okay, so if we look at number 6, Lucy earned $400 and $550 in interest in the last 2 years. How much interest must she earn this year so that her average earnings over the 3-year period is more than 600? So if we just look right here, more than 600. It can't be 600, it has to be more. So greater than 600. Okay, so in the last 2 years, she had 400 that she made in 1 year and 550 in the other. Okay, so she wants to know how much does she have to earn this year. So this would be like 400 would be year 1, year 2, and year 3 is X because we're not sure. Okay, so remember that when we want to find average, that means we're finding the mean. Okay, so we'd add up all 3 years and divide by how many there are, which is 3. Okay, I know that I want this to be greater than 600. I want to make more, I want my interest to be more than 600. Okay, so let me erase this part here, just get it out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this fraction. So if I multiply this by 3, I multiply the other side by 3 as well. Okay, remember that when you do the opposite operation, they cancel out. So I'm left with, if I add these two together also, I have 950 plus x. And on the right, I have 600 times 3, which is 1800. Okay? And the last step to get x alone is to subtract 950. Okay, so this becomes 0. So on the left, I just have x, and on the right, 1800 minus 950 is 850. Okay? So what this means, this x represents how much interest I have to earn in the 3rd year in order for the average to be more than 600. Okay, and then let's go ahead and look at the last one. The charity that you volunteer for is selling potted daffodils. Daffodils are a type of flower in the spring to raise money. The charity has spent $250 on supplies and plans to sell them for $5 each. Okay, so we want to first write an inequality that gives the possible number D daffodils to the charity to sell in order to be profitable. Okay, so we know that we've already spent $250, so we need to earn $250. Okay, so they cost $5 each. Times, well, how many are we going to sell? Times D. Okay, we want this amount to be at least 250. Okay. Actually, we want the profit to be positive. So not necessarily 0, we want it to be positive. So we want it to be greater than 250. Okay? So like if you plugged in 20 for D, if you sold 20 daffodils, you would make $100. Okay, that's not enough. We want to make at least 250. Okay? So here we have 5D is greater than 250. Okay, so part B. What are the possible numbers of daffodils the charity needs to sell in order for the profit to be positive. Okay, so we're going to use the same equation that we just did because we want something positive. So in order to get a positive amount, we can solve for D. So D is greater than 50. Okay, so the charity needs to sell at least 50 daffodils. Okay, and then the last one. If the charity bought 55 daffodil bulbs, are they able to make a profit? Okay, well, we just said they need to make at least 50 to make a profit. So yes, if they sell, okay, remember I'm explaining because it says explain. If they sell 55 daffodils, they will make $275, and they spent $250 to start off with. Okay, $250 on supplies. Okay, their profit will be $25. Okay, so I answered the question and I also explained it. Okay, there you have it.